Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday, guys. Welcome to Adult Play Therapy on the Sacred Pair of Playland channel. And I am your host, RK. I hope you guys are having an amazing, beautiful, super awesome day and that you are able to enjoy it with none other than play. I have a very special guest today, and her name is at Vintage Barbie Claire. And I am so excited to bring her back for another chat. We chatted last year, or maybe even possibly the year before. 2023 is a bit of a blur. So it may have been in 2022. You can always go right back into my feed to listen to that chat again. You can also check out my YouTube page, and that chat is available on the YouTube page as well. We chatted during the 2022 year, I do believe, and we talked about adult play therapy. We talked about our collection, and we spoke about all the different ways in which we do photography in a very creative manner. And so I want to bring her back on again today so we can have a life update. What has life been like since we have been involved with our collection for quite some time now? So without further ado, I'm going to bring Vintage Barbie Claire into our chat. Hello, everyone. I don't want you guys to think that I'm ignoring you, but I thank you guys so much for being with me, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. We have now sent out the request, and hopefully you will be joining us momentarily.
Hello.
There we go. Hello. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. Good. Bear with me 1 minute.
No problem.
Level out. Right, 1 second. I might need to move.
That's no problem.
Back a bit. It's been a while since I've done a live. You can tell I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, goodness. It was a while for me, too. Like I said, 2023 was just a blur. Had plans of doing lives, did not. And I'm better for it, I believe. And going into this new year having a better perspective
Gosh, I look so
of what I'm intending.
Right, that'll have to do. I think I'm on the right sort of level. The lighting isn't
there
great.
We go.
Apologise.
Oh, no.
Unless I can find something that's a bit brighter. That's maybe too bright there. No.
That's no problem. We are getting our setup together, guys. We thank you for being with us.
Sorry. Yes, so lovely to see you again. You look amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You look beautiful as well.
They're gorgeous. Glasses are very, very nice.
Thank you. Actually, I won these from a separate account. Trying to think of her account name, at Larissa Yvonne, and she has a fashion channel or fashion page, and she had a giveaway, and I submitted my name, and then I got these. I was like, oh, I like these. This is like a whole new style for me, because I usually wear, if I do have reading glasses, and they're usually circle and brown, so these are much more bigger, and I'm enjoying it.
Oh, they're nice. Yeah, I like them a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So how have you been?
Yeah, good. As I say, it's been quite a while, I think, since I've done a live. So it all feels like it's new again, to be honest, doing this. And it's been a whirlwind, I think, since the last one. As you can tell, the massive bags under my eyes. It's just been insane, to be honest, since whenever we last spoke. I think things changed massively, because it must have been a while since we last had our live together. And I think it was around about Christmas time, I think, maybe.
It sure was, because I remember your beautiful Christmas tree and just how nice and Christmassy the whole house was. So yes, it was. I believe at first I was like, it was 2023. Then I thought about it and I was like, no, that was 2022. It went by that fast.
Yes. It may even have been, it would have been 2022. Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
So it's all kind of been go and change since then, and I'm here, still hanging on.
I think that's like what all of us could say. I told my husband the other day, I said, I've been seeing on people's story, they have January was a long year. They're like, I'm so ready for February. And yes, each month has come with its own seasons and trials, and it does almost feel like a year. And 2023 feels like years. It really, really did. Just as far as, just trying to overcome situations and circumstances.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would definitely agree with that. It feels like the longest month ever. Yeah, and almost a
Yeah.
year in it. But
Yeah.
looking forward to hopefully a slightly better rest of the year. Hopefully, we'll see. But I don't know if when I last spoke to you, if I sort of give you a very brief update on where I'm at here and why everything is the way it is, because I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember where we were at in our life right then.
Yeah.
But my husband had to leave work, and it'll be coming up for 2 years this April, because of his health. And as a result of that, I closed my own business at the same time to become his full-time. So it has been a massive, massive adjustment in terms of you go from, I guess, being used to a certain way of doing things and a certain way of life and having everything mapped out to it being almost a feeling of the rug being pulled from up underneath you and having to then start a new life almost, because his health won't get any better. It will only get worse, and so his mobility is very low, and it's our lives anyway because of COVID and lockdown and shielding revolved around the house, and it's not really changed massively now. So I would say 99% of his time is spent in the house, and the only time he really goes out is for doctor's appointments, specialist appointments, and then occasionally if he feels up to going out to the park with me, because he's got a mobility scooter, he's got a wheelchair, he's got everything so that he can get out of the house and be mobile. But it's very different when you just don't, when you're not feeling well.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get out. So that's where we're at, and that's why all of these wonderful sellers that I've got to know over the last, what will be 3 years this year, I had to make a massive stop in any of the buying. So I try my best, and always have, to push and promote the people I bought from. And it's been good in many ways because it makes you concentrate more on what you've got, and it means you realize a lot of things that you forgot you had, that they're actually there. So that's kind of in a nutshell as to why, if people sort of maybe don't get to see as much of me online, or why I'm not commenting as much or as active or doing as many events, is just because I've not got the time. I have a job. My job is being a full-time carer, but the doll side is my hobby, and I absolutely love it. I still absolutely love it. I'm still as excited about it as I ever was. But it's just a massive change, and I know you've probably been through massive changes in your life and your family since I last caught up with you. And I know with all your children, I don't know how you have any time to do anything. I really don't.
I don't either. I give all credit to God and my husband, quite honestly. But first, before I even begin with that, I want to first off tell you thank you for sharing that life update, as well as let you know that my heart, my thoughts, and my prayers are with you guys as you continue to navigate, life right now. Because I can imagine that it's different. Just like you said, being able to have everything mapped out, and now things are kind of unpredictable, and just having to, from my own personal experience with life, and not in the same story, but just you're kind of winging it. Like, you're doing the best that you can each day and trying your best to reserve energy. And one of the things that I had put on our virtual flyer was for us to talk about life and play and rest. Because I have noticed that you haven't been as active, and I have noticed, and I've read and even commented from what you've written in your captions about your husband, and just giving those small blurts of life updates. So with life as it is right now, how are you able to navigate play into your life? How do you incorporate play in your life?
Yeah, I think for us, it's very much, it helps because everything is home based. So I try to work things in with when either Colin is at an appointment where I'm not able to go in with him, or there's a time when he's doing something else when he can be in the same room still with me, and I can do the doll stuff, or perhaps he's watching something, and when he's watching that's his show, then I do my own doll stuff. But it's very much, there's not a set time, it's just as and when I've got the time to do it. And on all my dog walks, now the weather's getting better, I try to take a doll out with me then. But it also helps the fact that it's in the front room, so that's where I am now, and that's the main like hub of our house, and the dolls are now in here, so it's very easily accessible. It's in the same room as where Colin or where Zach may spend time, and that's been a huge thing to help, because you're not on your own then, you're not going off to a room where there's nobody else. It very much, it all happens in this one room. And
and I imagine, you know, for your husband, does it bring him some relief even to be able to see you be able to get your dioramas out and take your pictures and have that time for play? Is that also kind of like a relief for him too?
Yeah, absolutely. Because he knew from the get-go how much this meant to me, and he sees how happy it makes me. So he encourages it, and he always smiles, and I can see him sometimes having a little bit of a laugh, and he'll say, "What on earth were you saying to yourself then?" I was like, "I wasn't saying anything." He was like, "You're over there building your diorama, talking to yourself." I was like, "I was not talking to myself." And he said, "You were saying something." So clearly I get zone, and I don't even know that I'm like muttering away to myself or pulling miniatures and things, and then apparently I'm having a full-blown conversation with myself. So it's quite funny, but that's the main thing. And I know I'm so lucky in that respect, is that he has always been supportive, because he knows how much joy it brings me. It's something I can do at home, and I've got this massive group of friends that I never had before. And I had to check the other day that it's 3 years this month, the start of this month, that I've been on Instagram as part of.
Well, happy doll anniversary. Doll Instagram anniversary. I'm not really sure what the formal name would be, but happy anniversary with that.
Oh, thank you. I think they call it, some people call it the Dollstiversary.
I like it. Dollstiversary. Yes.
Yeah.
So happy Dollstiversary to you, as you are able to be on. You're going into the 3rd year.
Yes, yeah, I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. Because the funny thing is, when you put on sort of the topic of conversation being about play, when I first started like looking at Barbies again, and the first thing I bought wasn't even a Barbie, it was another toy called O Penny. I never thought then it would lead to play. I just thought buying something I had as a child that I would kind of look at and go, "Oh, that's cool, isn't it?" And maybe show some other people, like Facebook friends that I had that are local, "Oh, did you have this as a child?" And you don't think then that that's going to lead to where you are.
Oh, so that's how that started for you.
Yeah. It started through an advert on Facebook for a group called Child of the 80s. And I can't even remember what the toy was. It wasn't Barbie. It was just something else I had in the 80s. And it said, "Did you have this as a child?" And I did. And it was that sort of sparked something. And so I had a quick look on eBay and found the first thing, which, as I say, was this O Penny. And it's just a little set that I've got somewhere in here. It's like some little tiny dolls, like really tiny, like this big, like Lego size.
Wow. Okay.
And that started then, just thinking, what did I have as a child and how it made me feel? And again, I never even thought when I got the first Barbie that would lead to what is essentially play.
Yes. Now, what made you choose Barbie as your medium to be able to, play, have your storylines with, do photography, post? Like, what led you down that path?
Well, for me, when I was about, I would say, age 7 through to probably 11 or 12, I think it was, my whole play was Barbie. Sorry. So I absolutely loved Barbie, and my dad renovated the loft in our house at home and made it my playroom. So it had pink striped carpet, pink wood chip wallpaper, and then he made me essentially what were dioramas. So out of pieces of wood, he then made these special connecting pieces, so you could build like box rooms. You could
What?
stack them and make a house. So the whole floor was laid out in all these different rooms. So I had like a hairdresser's, a laundrette. Then you had like your living, dining room, car garage. So for me, Barbie was a massive part of my childhood, and I would spend hours in that loft playing. And I sometimes had a friend come round and play with me. And then started secondary school, and that's when I stopped playing because the girls were really mean.
Yeah.
And word got round, still played with Barbies, and so they got packed up. But for me, that was my childhood. That's one of the biggest memories from childhood, was Barbie. And my dad, because my dad did a lot and created a lot. He was massively into woodwork. And so that, I guess it was something in that I'd seen when it came up, looking on eBay, the Barbies, and I knew I didn't have my childhood ones anymore. So I then thought, wouldn't it be cool to have all the ones I had as a child, like thinking of, say, maybe 10 that I could remember that were key ones.
Yes.
And it just went from that. I didn't actually end up initially getting the ones I had as a child. I ended up getting, that looks pretty, that's nice. Oh, that one's got better. And then you,
How it happens now.
yeah,
That is how it happens now. You think that you're gonna get this doll that either from like your childhood or that you've been liking for quite some time, some years, and you go on eBay or you go on Amazon, whatever outlet, Mercari, whichever one, and then you see this doll and that doll, and you're like, oh, let me put that in the cart.
yeah. And it's crazy because I don't know, I mean, with yourself, did it come sort of at a certain point in your life? Like, were you thinking, did something trigger it for you?
It was actually my girls that triggered it for me. I had maybe 2 or 3 Barbies from my childhood because the rest of them were tucked inside of a what we call our little attic space, and some mice got to them. So all the childhood Barbies are gone. So I only had about 2 or 3 of them that were out. I gave those to my oldest girl. Didn't really think about it anymore. And then COVID hit. The girls have been watching at my my Froggy stuff, and
Yeah,
were watching her on YouTube, and they really, really wanted to start making doll clothes and doing different things with dioramas. And they'd asked me, but at the time, I really did not have the time. They asked actually right before COVID, and I just genuinely didn't have the time. I was going to different book signings because I'm an indie author, so I had different book signings going on at the time. My schedule was really packed. Then they went to their dad, and their dad came. They know I have a soft spot for daddy, so they went to daddy, and then daddy brought it up to me, and I was like, okay, let's go ahead and do it. And then of course COVID occurred, and it wasn't any other better time than to do it because we were at home, we were in lockdown. So we began making the dioramas, we began doing pictures, took some pictures and put like hashtag Barbie on my personal page that I had at the time. And then this whole community came up that I didn't even know about. And I was just doing it because my girls wanted to start posting pictures. So when that took place, I was doing storylines with the girls and taking some pictures, and they were telling me what their thoughts were, and we were writing it down in the caption. And then it just got really, really fun for me and became a personal outlet to just speak and have the characters speak and try out different stuff with my characters and see, does that work, and how can I use that as a writer with what I write? Will that work? And I got such good feedback. When I do book signings, I get my feedback after, a few months have gone by, possibly even after a year after I've published a piece. And then someone will come to the book signing and say, I really did like the book, or why did you do this with the character, or this part inspired me, whatever it is that they want. But with Instagram and any other social media platform, you're getting like that instant feedback where they're saying, oh, I love that. Oh, wow, her outfit. Or, oh, I can't wait to see what happened. Or why did she say that? So I was getting like that instant feedback to know that this work or doesn't work. And before I knew it, I took over the page that the girls and I had. So it's just been my outlet right now, especially with the kids. It gives me something creative to do.
Yeah, definitely. And something that they can get involved with. And I think
Yeah.
that's something is when I started to meet up with the girls last summer. I'd given away one of my doll houses that I had.
Oh,
It had it had lived in the kitchen since I got it for my 40th birthday because there was nowhere else big enough to put it. And so I used to do a lot of my videos in the kitchen, but then it meant you couldn't actually
yeah.
do it. So I gave them this dollhouse, and then as a result of that started going to the park with them to sort of try and show them a little bit about doll photography and how to kind of get into it really.
Yeah.
So I realized from them they're just as excited as me, which kind of makes me realize how excited I am.
Yeah. Bless you.
Also, what it's so easy to share something in common with a child, and
Yes.
really hard because I'm sure that doesn't always happen or doesn't happen very often, that you're on the same wavelength about the same thing and you're as excited as each other, yet there's this massive difference in age. And so that
Yeah.
was, I loved doing that last summer, and I hope to be able to do it again this summer, because it's great. It gives me like an hour where I can get out of the house. Zach can be at home with Colin, and you just go and do fun doll stuff at the park.
Yeah.
It's so it's exciting and it's nice and it's good listening to how other people kind of got into it, and also how you discovered the community, or more how the community found you.
Yeah.
I think that was what happened to me. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that was actually going to be one of my questions. Like, did you feel that you found this community or just that our hobby found you?
Yeah,
But you
it
answered it. Yeah.
I think it found me because I think I did like a post. My first thing was just a picture. Um, it might have even just been my account name, I think, my first picture, and didn't really get anything from it. And then as soon as I posted the first Barbie picture and I used maybe one hashtag on it, you then have people commenting and you realise that they're also doll collectors. And that's the thing that surprised me the most, was other adults doing exactly the
Yeah.
same. Um, and then I realised this is actually a thing. I'm actually doing something that I never realised I was going to do. It's a bit of a strange one. I thought I was just getting a doll, and I thought when I got the first one it would be nice to share a picture, because I used Instagram for my business. And then it just kind of explodes into this whole world of the adult doll collectors
It
and
does.
that goes with it. And then you meet people
Yes.
from all over that you wouldn't otherwise have ever met. It's just, it's crazy.
I I so agree with you. The sense of community has been very helpful within like different aspects of life for me. Um, with what's going on currently in life for you, has the sense of community that we have with our doll community, to use the word again, has that been a comfort for you?
Yeah, without a doubt, because I've got so many amazing friends that share the same hobby and also genuinely care.
Yeah.
And so they will be in contact, they'll send messages and send gifts, and it's just been amazing. Yeah, the support has been amazing, and to be able to meet people in person as well, people that aren't just from the UK, but people that have travelled from abroad to then come and see me, like Karen from Tawny's Tiny World came
Yeah.
to the UK on holiday, but specifically came here so that she could see me, which I couldn't believe it. And then other people within the UK again don't live close to me, but will make the effort to come here to see me, and they are the best friends that I've ever had because we share the same interests.
Yeah.
We seem to have similar personalities. I think a lot of the people on Dollstagram, I know that's very like a very general sweeping statement to make, but I do think there's a lot of traits that people share that are doll collectors, and a similar sort of sense of humor. So for
Yeah.
me, it's massive because this is the way that I escape, and to have friends there that are supportive is everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
I agree with you.
have you made a lot of very good friends, or is it a very different friend group to maybe what you have outside of dolls?
Well, quite honestly, I will definitely say that my life has been positively impacted from being involved with our doll community. I have met extremely fabulous personalities who do have very similar traits and even a similar background or even like a similar childhood to that of my own. And even with that, having similar traumas. And I've noticed that from being able to have those friendships and have those sisterhoods, when I talk to them about something that I'm going through, they're able to give me the best advice, ones that are packed with wisdom and understanding. There's times where I may not even say what I'm going through, and I will get a DM, a message from someone else that's saying, "Hey, I kind of noticed that you seemed a little bit different. How's your postpartum going? How's your C-section going? You know, have you done in any of this kind of shadow work? Have you done this and that?" And it's been extremely helpful in helping me to evolve in my womanhood. And I'm grateful because who would think by us taking a leap of faith to join something that seems quote unquote
Yeah,
childish to other people, that we would be able to meet some of the best people whose hearts are genuine and authentic. I know that's been the case for me, and I imagine it hasn't been the case for
yeah,
everyone because people are still people.
yeah,
But for me,
yeah,
really, really great, like-minded souls. I would say that the people I've met through our doll community, I actually share more in common with than people outside of doll community. Just my day-to-day people who I interact with, it's it's much different in talking to
yeah,
them. Some of the, because to me, I feel that some of the issues that we have in life can be resolved through play, through
yeah,
being able, and it doesn't always have to be with dolls. Whatever play that someone gets into, could it be collecting stamps? It could be bird watching. It could be sewing. Whatever someone's personal interest is, I think that it helps you to explore your personhood and then connect like we are right
yeah,
now with other people that are like-minded. And I think that kind of gets you out of trouble in other areas because there's so many people that are distracted in life, by, cheating on their spouse or just being bored or getting into one thing and another thing. When if they would explore who they are and their interest, I think that would keep them more in a positive light than doing negative stuff.
yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah.
I know that was a long spill, but yeah. When we talk about the creative process and creative flow and life itself and the unpredictability of it, how has your creative flow been in the midst of doing this balancing act right now? Are you still able to come out with um, creative thoughts and creative ideas at the same pace that you did before?
Yeah, I mean, the thoughts and the ideas are always there. Like my head is just, I think it just always works on overdrive and always has stupid thoughts, or I see something and it sparks something. So the thoughts are there. The biggest difference is the time is not there anymore. So
Yes.
I've had to do things. So where previously I may have had ongoing storylines, which I love doing, and when I first started, I was doing it every single day, every single night, every single hour and minute of every day until crazy o'clock.
I remember
And
you talking
I'm distinct
about that.
having the most like ridiculous conversations with Zane, who's from Dolled Up by Zane and Duck Dolls, at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and she'd sort of be saying, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm in the kitchen. I'm just creating my diorama. I'm just doing a doll disco." And then you think how that changes now, and you do go through stages, I think, as a doll collector anyway. But the stage that I'm at now is it has to fit in with life. I can't make life fit around it. And so, regards stories, they've got to be a standalone event very much,
Yeah.
because not everybody remember past storylines, but they maybe remember one of the main characters. So I try to do it so it is just something that fits within one post rather than continuing, because I haven't got the time to keep up with that. So it's just about evolving, really,
Yes.
and still getting the enjoyment and the fun and the silliness from what I do. But I wish I had more time, but I don't. That's just the way it is. I just feel very fortunate that I have it as a hobby and that I love it so much, and I still love it as much as when I first started, if not more, because the less you can do it, the more it makes you want to do it.
Yes. Yes, I agree with you so I agree with you so much because I face that same challenge with time because we do have our 10 kiddos and I do homeschool. So I'm here a whole lot. And then my other portion of time is that I'm typing or I'm making food and I'm there for my husband and making his food before he goes to work. So whatever the case is, time is essential and it is of the essence. And because, just like you said, it is so limited, you do appreciate your hobby even more. And we do miss their stories. I do miss Shady. Shady was such an interesting character. Now, when it comes to your stories, even when it's standalone, do you find that it's easier to create a story that's separate from life, or do you incorporate life into your story?
I think I try and go for something that's not happening in life because you can kind of be really out there. You can do all the things you couldn't do in real life. So
Yeah.
that is something that's exciting. But I sometimes maybe on the more personal post try to incorporate a bit of what's happening in real life, but more in the caption than in the story section, if that makes sense.
Yes, it
But
does.
that's the fun bit, isn't it? Is doing things that you wouldn't do in real life, or meeting these characters that maybe you haven't met in real life, but you just think would be such a character if you did. And the fact that Shady took on like a life of his own, the fact that my husband
Hmm.
really tests him because of all the stuff that he's done, it's funny because he becomes like this real person. And it's so lovely when there's so many other accounts that I know that get invested in his storyline and like to see, what's going on
Hmm.
and he's up to. So I still find I can carry on with his previous story for those that know who he is, but like I say, make it a one post story so it's start, middle, end,
Yes,
and I don't need to then carry
yes.
it on. Yeah, and I don't feel guilty then if I can't come back and complete it.
I fully understand that. I fully understand that. That's always been a goal of mine. And I've gotten somewhat better like the end of last year and this year, as far as not having what I feel would be my story dragging. And not so much that I don't think that the content is good because I enjoy the content that I'm serving and delivering. It's just that once when you put a post out and then you go back a week later and you still have them sitting at at the coffee shop talking, and then a month goes by and they're still at the coffee shop talking. I'm like,
Yeah,
when am I going to get done with this
yeah,
story? But it's harder, like we said, with the time being limited, you have to really see what goals are going to fit for you. And I love that you said a standalone story, just getting it on there and posting it in one post and being done. I've noticed that for me, the rules have been working as far as just getting, because I take a lot of pictures. That's just what I do naturally. And I try not to, like, I try to make a goal to only take 3 or 4 pictures. I've spoken to other creatives and I'm like, how do you do it? But I just naturally like click, 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 click. So for me, doing the reels has allowed me to put everything in one
yeah,
post and get the story done
yeah,
quicker.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I know, again, just from reading what other people have said and the way that Instagram's changed or changing, is that the reels for them get more exposure or
Yeah.
seem to come up feeds more. But for me, it's the complete opposite. I think because I've been putting less time into Instagram, it's the pictures. The reels just seem to go by the by and they hardly get anybody seeing them. And because it also takes longer for me to do that, I just carry on with my pictures because I think I like to see it sort of crisp and clear and there in one thing. So I've
I
taken
get it.
less reels. But I know, and I don't know whether you feel the same, but in the last, I would say 6 months to a year, that Instagram anyway has changed massively, but also Dollstagram has changed as well.
Yeah, it
The way that
has.
it's operating, or the way that maybe some accounts are operating, it's very different to how it used to be. So it's finding that fun again. It's finding I guess, a balance for some people, maybe not for others, because I think people use it differently. Some people
Yes.
will come up with the intention that they want it as a business. Some people come on just because it's fun and it's to share their collection. Some people come on for the community, for the friends, and what posting isn't really important. Some people don't even post, they just go round looking at everybody else's accounts. And then I guess there's others that are maybe somewhere in the middle of all that. But it's hard to feel, I guess, like you're giving back to the community if you feel like you're not doing enough for the community, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I feel like I've gone from one extreme to the other of being on there every day, knowing what everybody was doing, knowing all the accounts, and really kind of up to date on everything, to then feeling a little bit lost because I can't get on everybody's accounts and I can't know what's going on all the time. I don't know what all the events are, even though there's a wonderful account called Doll Cabal and Cindy Doll Picks that both produce lists of the events. It's hard because you need time. Because what I found doing a post where you try and join these different events, you can either do it before or after, so you can look and see what the events are and see what the topics are, then create your post, your diorama, your outfit to suit those, or you can create your diorama first and your outfit to what you want to do, then see what events fit. But I find doing the caption alone takes so long and it becomes a little bit admin-y, and then that takes a bit of the fun out of it. But you feel like if you're not doing that, then maybe you're not as interactive as you should be. So why should people come to your account to look at what you do if you're not doing the same? And that's the way my mind works. And I feel a lot of guilt, which I know, again, it's probably a mixture of people that feel exactly the same, where they feel so guilty for not having the time to sit there and go through all of your friends' accounts and further afield to people you don't know, versus the ones that just say, well, those that are here for you are here because they like you and they want to see what you're doing, they want to see what you're up to are. And anybody else that's not doing that, then really are they a friend, or are they somebody that you would want to interact with? And I overthink things a lot, a massive amount. I overthink things, and I know I have a guilt and a worry that's ridiculous, because it is ridiculous, because everything else that's going on in life is so much more important. Why do I even let it occupy a tiny space in my mind to be worried about the fact that I've not replied to comments on my own post for the last 2 days, or there's maybe a DM that I've not replied to? And it's a hobby. At the end of the day, it's a hobby. So it has to be something that makes you happy. You have to be doing it for you. You set your own rules. So there's no rules. There's unwritten rules on Instagram or on Dollstagram, which some of them are ridiculous. They're really ridiculous. So I have to remind myself, like, don't overthink it. That's what I've been doing recently, like regarding unboxing my Barbies, is not overthinking things. Just do it, because I spent so long worrying about how should I unbox it? Should I do a video? Should I take pictures of the different stages? What will people want to see? And so I end up not doing it. So I've got boxes and boxes of Barbies waiting to come out because I've been stressing myself so much about thinking. And it's simple. You just take it out of the box. You don't have to film it. You don't have to take pictures of it. You can show people afterwards once it's out, or you can show them a picture of it. This is what the Barbie was in the box. This is it now in my diorama. So that was a very long-winded question.
No.
Instagram, Dollstagram, in my opinion, have changed. Not always for the better. I think I give myself a lot of guilt, which is probably not necessary, and I overthink things, and I'm sure that that's very similar to a lot of other people. But the reason I'm on here is different to a lot of other people. It's not a business for me, it's a hobby, and I'm not looking to monetize anything, and that's pretty much it.
Yes, yes, yeah, and honestly, you probably wouldn't be surprised, because I'm sure, bless you, that you've seen people comment and say, or even put in their stories, Instagram's not the
Yeah.
same. The doll community is not the same. And of course, I'm coming in, gosh, I guess mine is on almost 3 years as well. I want to say, I haven't even checked. Like, life has been so so busy. I haven't even checked. I want to say I guess I've been involved for 3 years myself. And I can't say what it was like prior to that. I do know that people say, like, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, it wasn't like this. Of course, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, Instagram was not as well known. So
Yeah.
nowadays we have this huge explosion with commercialism for miniature world that I would have loved growing up. Like, in my childhood, I would have loved for all these little brands and miniatures to have been available. But now with the Barbie movie, there's more attention put on adult collectors. And so you have this swarm of people who didn't think about Barbie and may have been bullied as a kid and stopped playing with Barbies, which I was there, just like you had stated. And so now they feel comfortable going back to Barbie, or some of them are doing it just because it's a trend right now and they want to be a part of it. So I believe that we have a lot more new accounts that weren't even thought of 3 or 4 or 6 years ago, because of how big commercialism is right now. And then, of course, what comes with that is that at one portion we had a small amount of accounts that were genuine business accounts, who did the sewing, who made these very intricate miniatures and furniture. But now we have even more business accounts, because people see this is a niche that they weren't looking at.
Yeah.
So that has really become, now I would say that our area, our niche is now very saturated. So you really don't know who's in it just because of the love of Barbie or because of the love of 1/6 scale. Now you have a surplus of people. And I believe that that alone can kind of change up the dynamics of our community.
Yeah.
Because we do have so many people that are just in it because it's a trend, or they're in it because it's a business for them, or because it's popular. So I feel everything that you're saying. And like I said, I've seen in the comments, I've seen in people's story, they're like, it's just not the same. And Instagram itself keeps changing up their algorithm.
Yeah.
Almost every week, it's something different. You have access to this, you don't have access to that, or they change they change up where your DM icon is at. Is it at the bottom or is it at the top? There's always something that's different. And
Yeah.
even, like, your reach is different. One day photos work, another day reels work. So I love what you said, just being able to make your own rules, being able to do things that keeps this hobby enjoyable and fun for you. And that's
Yeah.
really where
Yeah.
I am at right now for 2024, because I kind of lost that pleasure with our with what we do. It felt like a lot of pressure, just like you said, as far as, like, I'm not posting daily. Am I giving people the content that they want? You said about the unboxing. I have some dolls right now, especially like that I received on Christmas, and it's like, okay, I guess I'm going to save these up and do it for an actual live. But why can't we just unbox it and enjoy
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
As kids, that's what we did. We unboxed and we enjoyed. We weren't concerned about trying to show everyone the type of articulation that this doll has in the clothes. That wasn't important to us. It was just important to play.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think it's very easy then to start to overthink and not do. And that sort of defeats the object of why a lot of people started it. So yeah, I do think Instagram has changed, and I think as much as I've tried looking sort of to see, I suppose, when people have left, what platforms they're using, the
Yeah.
community is still here. The community is still on Instagram, and it's so easy to interact with people. It's so easy to post. And I know it's a bind when Instagram sort of go all rogue and decide you're going to be in jail, or you're going to be shadow banned, or you're going to be this and that. And I know that that's very frustrating for a lot of accounts, and I've been through that myself. But it has always tended to happen where I've had an event and I've clearly been commenting too many times for it to like it.
Yeah.
But it's just easy, and the community and my friends are on Instagram. So for me, I'm still always drawn to it, as much as it's a pain and as much as it changes and as much as not everything is positive. Everybody's there that I know, and so you get pulled back onto it anyway. And even when I've taken a break, it's so hard to kind of stay off because you're itching to know what's happened or just to post again. It's that the posting is part of the enjoyment, is sharing what you've created or what you've so I love it. It has changed, but I guess it's just how you move with that change, really, and how you kind of stay with the positive stuff. Yeah.
I fully agree with you on that. What do you do to kind of keep yourself motivated and interested in your hobby? When we talk about the different changes with Instagram, and they are banning some people, and unfortunately we've had a few accounts in our community be closed, and so what do you do to just keep yourself motivated and interested?
I just think naturally I am. Like, seriously, I cannot quite put into words how much I love dolls and how much I love this hobby. And it never ever wanes. It never wanes. And if I could do it 24/7, I would, because that's how much I love it. And it's so easy to time creating the dioramas. That's the biggest thing for me. Or for styling, you don't realize how quickly time goes because you're in your own little world when you do. So I think maybe I'm fortunate because I read, and I've read just today somebody saying they've lost that spark, or they're not in the place in their lives right now because of things going on, and so they hope that that comes back. And I've never lost that, and I do feel very fortunate. It's just the time aspect is I don't have as much time, so I'm always excited. And even just when you see a normal modern Barbie in a shop, when you're walking past, you're not even looking for Barbies. It excites me. If I see like the toes of a Barbie box stuffed under a load of other boxes when you're going food shopping, that excites me, even though I'm not buying it. I get excited. Or when you see kids, they're like playing with the Barbies, or when I've got my Barbie and a child sees it, it's like I that excites me, which I think I am maybe in the minority, or maybe there's more people that are like that. But I know I have seen that some people have lost that spark and they need something to gain inspiration again, or to kind of get them excited again. And maybe I'm just very lucky that that's not the case. It's always here. It's yeah, there's no getting away from it in our house. But it's been a brilliant thing actually, moving it so that it's more accessible. So it doesn't look pretty. It's not a show home by any means. I used to be very minimalist, and before Barbies, I went through the whole Marie Kondo thing of trying to reduce things and everything have its place. And as soon as dolls came along, that just went out of the window. It's what makes you happy, what sparks not having a stack of coffee table books that look pretty. The dolls can have that because it looks great in their living room, but for us, they don't serve any purpose. Nobody's going to read them. They just look nice. We don't have visitors, so it doesn't matter. It's what makes you happy, what keeps you excited. And for me, it's the dolls, it's the dioramas, it's styling, it's finding things I forgot I had. Having the time to get organized, that made a massive difference, because you can get things, you know what you've got, you know where things are. But again, it's giving yourself the time to do that, and get to that point.
I agree. I fully agree with you on that. When we talk about being able to find things that you hadn't seen in a while and organizing yourself. Would you attribute that to being able to have moments moments of rest? I would say having like seasons of rest, but everything's kind of in a moment. How has rest been able to help you?
Sleep. That's probably the only time I rest. Is when I go to bed. But I suppose in a way that when I do the styling or the dioramas, when you're picking an outfit or you're picking the miniatures you want for something, that's rest in itself for your brain, because my brain just completely switches off of everything else. And for that half an hour or that hour, all I'm doing is thinking, what will go well with that? What will look, where do I want to put that? You're not thinking about any of the other stuff, any of the other negative things, any of the appointments, any of the sad things in life you don't think about for that period of time. So I guess that is rest, and that is play. Play is rest as well, really, from everything else going on. Yeah. And that's the way I would look at it, is I don't really ever sit down doing nothing. I never do. Because I always feel like I've got to be doing something purposeful, and having the dog helps massively with that as well, because she needs to go out for walks. So that is, a time sort of away from everything, but I still think about stuff then. It is only when I'm doing doll stuff that I don't think about anything else other than what I'm doing right then. And I don't know if that's the same for you, or whether, it's maybe different for different people.
I fully agree with you. I'm definitely an overthinker as well, and I'm certain that other people who are involved with our chat and involved in our dog community are also overthinkers. Like even when I sleep, I have to sleep with a notebook and a pen right next to me, or I'm writing in the back of a book if I don't have my notebook next to me, because I wake up at night and I'm writing down a thought, or I need to do this, or look into this, look this up tomorrow. Like I'm giving myself little notes, or I'm putting like a note in the phone to myself. If I listen to a song before I go to sleep, which is not the best thing for me to do sometimes, because then I'm listening to it even while I'm supposed to be dreaming. So like that's how my mind also goes as well. But when I'm having my time with my dolls, I'm not thinking about bills. I'm not thinking about, whatever situation that we have going on in the house or with the family, or checking in on this other person, whatever the case may be. I'm just focused on my dolls, and I'm focused on, like if it's for an event, how is this going to fit into my story? Now, sometimes I can get a little stressed on my dolls too, because I have other dolls. And so at times I want to incorporate the new dolls.
Yeah.
And then I can get kind of stressy on that, because I'm like, do I want to put this new doll in the dress? And is that going to make a whole new storyline? Or is this just a one-off, just doing this one photo and that's it? So it causes a little bit of overthinking, but then I'm not thinking about life situations.
Yeah.
I'm just focused on this 1/6 scale, and that's really it. So I definitely do understand where you're coming from with that, as far as just kind of allowing certain areas of the brain to just shut off for a moment, and allowing ourselves to just focus on that one thing at that time. And then of course the next thing to focus on is the posting, because I can have the pictures in the phone and then be like unable to post it right then. So then my new stress is, when do I post it? I gotta post it. And now, do you edit your photos, or do you just go ahead and send it off?
The only thing I edit is the brightness, and I usually do that on my phone before I actually put it onto Instagram. I did go through a phase of I had a play around with Face app, but because I didn't want to pay for it, I didn't often do it, and I thought, to me, it just made them look weird, and they didn't look like Barbies anymore. They look more human. And although you're wanting them to be human almost, I still like the fact they look like a Barbie. So I do very basic things if it calls for it. So if I've taken a picture and then I realise there's a big black splodge on the backdrop behind, I'll put it into an app called Snapseed, and you can just rub it out.
Oh wow! Okay.
that was something that Chrissy told me about. So from Chrissy Dolls, the app's called Snapseed. You don't have to pay for it if you don't want to. You can just have the free version. You upload your picture, and it's got some very basic and easy tools to use, because I'm by no means like technical, but it's very good for just taking off little areas, or if you notice a mark on the dress, or you don't want the tray that they're standing on to be visible, you can just edit it out.
Okay.
That occasionally, but in general, I like to make sure it's good to go as soon as I've taken the picture, and then there's no messing about really. You can just post it.
I like that. I like that. And thank you for telling me about Snapseed. I'm definitely going to try that out. And I also, bless you, I also am a person that doesn't use the Face app, but I give applause to those who do, because some of them, some of the accounts who use it, it looks fabulous. It looks wonderful. It's just extra work for me,
Yeah.
number one. And then number two, I do like my dolls to still look like dolls. And then number three, it's more of a challenge for me. Like I recently did a slumber party photo shoot. And so the challenge was, how do I make these dolls look like they're asleep
Yeah.
without having to use a face app or make the eyes close and all this other stuff. So I positioned them in such a way where like their faces were on the side, or I had one that was like a real, wild sleeper. So her body was kind of contorted and her head went off on the side. So it helped. It helped to be able to have them look like they're sleeping, and also to kind of check off of my challenge list for myself that I was able to pose them in such a way where I didn't need face app.
Yeah.
So it's always like more of a challenge. It's like a self challenge for me. Like, how can I do this and make it look more realistic?
Yeah.
Now, has your I'm sorry.
Some of the accounts that use it are absolutely amazing. They have amazing skills to do what they do. And I know some people go to the extent like erasing the joints on the dolls as well.
Yes.
I think, like for me, and again, it's just personal preference, I like them to still look like it's a Barbie, and although I want them to have a bit of life behind them, I don't want them to be too human, because it loses a bit of the nostalgia, I suppose, and the reason why I collected them.
Yeah.
But I know that there are some that are just absolutely incredible at editing the pictures and doing all sorts of fancy stuff with the background, but I haven't got the time to do it, and maybe much what I like. I'd rather be outside and have a real background, or I'd rather spend the time creating the dioramas, because that's what I really enjoy doing.
Yes. I it's to each his own. So for whichever accounts enjoy it and they have the time for it, that's their niche, that's their thing. But I fully agree with you. I prefer being able to have my dolls look like they're dolls and challenge myself in other areas to get a more realistic pose.
Yeah.
But again, that's our personal preference. When it comes to play, and this is going to be one of my last questions, but when it comes to play, has your interest in 1/6 scale rubbed off on your son? Is he into any personal hobbies or interests because he sees you enjoying yourself?
Not so much on Zach, but definitely 100% on Colin, my husband. And that was very early on, because it was back when I first got into it, and I had the Barbie mail come in, and he would say, "Oh, it's another Barbie mail for you." Like, I really would like to get into it. So he got into 1/6 scale figures, and the miniatures that go with them, and they're very different in many respects to sort of the Barbie side of things, because they're more like a collectible figure, but they're articulated, and some of them are incredibly high end. Like the miniatures that come with them are ultra realistic. It's insane. But he's not had the time, he's not been in the position to actually play with any of them. So a lot of them we may well end up parting with some of them, more sort of financially than anything, but he will keep some in the hope that maybe at some point he might feel well enough to sit down and get some of those out. So it back when I started collecting, because I think he saw how much fun I was getting and enjoyment from it, that he kind of wanted to get in on that. But not so much now, just because of his health. Now, Zach did go through a phase of collecting figures, but they weren't necessarily sort of the same kind of thing. He was into like anime and manga, so he collected those figures. And now it's more about gaming. So, yeah.
Okay, I understand. I understand. We have some gamers too. My oldest, he gets into drawing anime. And I was like, what made you get into that? Because we don't really watch a lot of anime. So I was
Yeah.
kind of surprised. But he said because anime has such expression. They have all these different expressions that you see with the eyes.
Yeah.
And that really did intrigue him more so than other styles of drawing. So that's been his thing. And with him drawing, because he is the oldest, it's influenced everyone else. So we have like a whole household of little artists. They enjoy drawing and making their own figures and action figures and so forth. But I have found that by being adults and getting into play, it has been very beneficial for our children, and that they don't feel ashamed of being the age that they are and still enjoying play. Now, for them, if they decide not to do a 1/6 scale, or they don't, want to play with the miniatures or whatever the case is, it's been more of a personal choice versus them feeling like I'm too old to do this.
Yeah.
So it's been very, very helpful. And then just as far as like when it comes to my husband, I know he's reconnected with Legos. So whenever he has a chance, he'll do some Lego building, and he does very intricate stuff with the Legos. But he's usually kind of busy. But whenever he does get a chance to, that like Father's Day or something like that, and he's able to just kind of sit down, that's one of the things that he's been able to do. Really just started, I want to say last year or the year before last. So it's been helpful. It's always good to reconnect with that inner child and being able to just set them free and allow them to be able to enjoy life. And although I know that you said right now your husband won't really be able to interact with anything miniature wise, are you guys going to keep some things up on? I know you said you're going to probably get rid of some. Are you going to keep the other ones up on display?
So that's a question I get asked quite often, is about how do you display them, and I don't really display them. The only ones I have out are, you can just see there in that corner.
Yeah.
That's used to be shelves for ornaments. I've taken and got rid of all the ornaments and use them now for like pop-up decor, because they're great height. They're really easily to like access, and I can change them up and make them different dioramas. But that is so much easier to use a shelf than a dollhouse. It's just it's perfect height, and as I say, you can swap and change easily, and the lighting is brilliant on it because it's right next to the window, so for taking pictures it's great. So that's the extent to which I've got things on display, because for me, I never bought them to display. I bought them to essentially to look at and to play with. It wasn't a case of having them all out. As much as I admire people who have these incredible doll rooms that have all these beautiful shelves with all the Barbies laid out on, mine are all in drawers, or they're like behind me here in the boxes ready to come out. So once they've been used, they go into a drawer, because it's the easiest way to store a large volume is in drawers, and then you pull out what you need when you need it. But now I'm on this mission, e-box more, think about it less, use them, and then maybe just have them up whilst I'm taking the pictures, and then they go away again. And what may happen with the ones that we're going to keep of Collins, the ones that we haven't let go or that we are not going to part with, might end up making it into my collection anyway, because it's the same scale, so it's 1/6 scale, so everything fits. They're just not Barbie dolls, they are more like a sort of a higher end collectible figure, but they're still articulated, you can still use them. Or it may be that on a day when he feels like he's in a bit better than others, he can sit down and have a go at doing a stop motion, which is something he really
Oh,
but
yes, stop motion.
Yeah, and again, I've just not had the time to do as many as I would have liked. I really want to get back into that, but you've got have the time, and it takes a lot longer to do a stop motion than it does to set up a diorama.
There's
Really.
always a different, life always has a different season. It really, really does. Just like with us having our 10 kids, I was pregnant for 9 or 10 months. I was, sometimes they want you to hold that baby almost 10 months. But then when I'm not pregnant anymore, the baby's here, then they're only a newborn for so long before they become a toddler. Then they're a kid, then they're, preteen, and now we have a teenager. So there's just a certain season for everything. They can't be in the belly the whole time. They can't be toddlers the whole time. And I say that as far as just an analogy of there was the season for doing stop motion, but now life is different. It's evolved, it's changed, transformed, rearranged. So it's a matter of, like that was enjoyable, and hopefully, you'll be able to get back to it. But now not holding yourself to that guilt of I'm not able to do it right now. Like it'll happen when it's supposed to. And in the meantime, because you posted those stop motion reels, we can always go back and look at them.
Yeah. And whilst we get to stop motion, for anybody that's based in the UK or anybody that wants to travel, there is a doll show, a new doll show coming up in June, at the start of June, and it's being run by Pat, who owns the Doll Foundry, and the show is the London Doll Fashion Fair. It's on Instagram, so you can find it by going on Pat's account and looking at the Doll Foundry, and it'll be in the pinned post on his page. It's also in the pinned post on my page, and he's asked me to give a talk there about stop motion. So it will be very much like a beginner's guide on how to get started. Some of the things that I learned that were kind of like a great tip or hint for making it easier, and just making it fun and making it accessible. So it's not difficult to get into. It doesn't have to cost you anything. You can just get going with a free app. And so that will be what I'll be giving a talk on, and it's in London. So again, it'll be great for anybody that's based down south or those that can travel. I guess there'll be some people coming from further afield as well, and I think maybe even some international people coming to attend the doll show, because the lineup that I've seen is incredible. There's going to be vendors as well as different people giving talks on different aspects of doll collecting, really. So I'm looking forward to that immensely, because it's also an opportunity to meet people I've never met but known for years. So I'm really excited.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I literally had on my side note right here, speaker. I wanted to talk to you briefly about your events that were coming up. And of course, you've already named about the doll show with Pat at the Doll Foundry. And anyone who's interested can look that post up on your page, correct? And also on Pat's page. And I also noticed that within about like a couple months ago, you did an interview with was it with the news station or a conference?
Oh, it was mental. All around about the time of the Barbie movie, it went mental. I was getting a phone call every single day, if not 2 phone calls a day. And I think I did interviews, and this is no word of a lie, with nearly every BBC radio station in the UK.
Wow.
And it was all about the movie and how being an adult doll collector basically, I suppose, swayed my opinion of the film. Was I looking forward to it? What did I think about the film? And then as a result of that, there were lots of newspapers and some things on TV as well, because it was majorly sort of in the public eye, wasn't it, when the film was coming out?
Yes.
So it was really exciting, because I loved every and any opportunity to talk about dolls and talk about Barbie and being an adult collector. So it was really exciting. It's died down now that the film is out, but hopefully if they do another film, whether that's the Ken movie or Barbie movie 2, I'm sure it will be the same kind of thing again. Everybody talks about it, and they just want to know. A lot of it was wanting to know my opinion on the film from a feminist point of view, which I didn't feel entirely comfortable talking about, if I'm honest, because I was going into it as a Barbie collector. It was a film about Barbie, so I wasn't too kind of like, I guess, stuck on what all the underlying messages were. But I loved the film, and I was fortunate enough to see it before it was on general release. I went with one of my friends, Michelle, who's very important Barbie stuff, and we had an amazing time. Loved the film, and just love talking to people about dolls and Barbie and being an adult doll collector. I just think because it excites me so much, it's nice to share that joy.
Yes, yes. And have you seen after doing those interviews and those conversations, did you have people who came to you to ask you tips as far as how to be a collector or anything of that nature?
A lot of people coming to me for wanting me to appraise their collections. I'll give tips, but I'm really sorry, I've not got time to be appraising your collection because that's something that a lot of people charge for that service. So the vast majority of people were people coming to me either trying to sell their collections or asking me to appraise their collections. But there's been a few that have said, like, how did you get started? What did you decide was the first doll that you were going to get? But massively, I think the biggest impact was shining a light on all of the adult collectors, because as far as the press and the news were concerned, that was quite a unique angle that they thought people would be interested in. Not necessarily always in the most positive light, but I would say 99.9% of the interviews and things I did were all very positive about adults being collectors. How does play influence mental health? And so it was very, very good. I think it brought a lot more people in to Dollstagram. Definitely there was a massive influx of collectors. I don't know how many of those are still there now, but I think overall the movie was massively positive for adult doll collectors.
Yes. I can definitely see that. We had a lot of great reviews from different people as far as how that movie impacted especially our doll community and impacted adults who thought about doing dolls but weren't really sure because of what that backlash may look like, and even individuals who felt that they were outside of the general community.
Yeah.
But then once the movie came out, they were like, see, it's okay to be an adult doing dolls. So I think that for those kind of benefits, it was very, very helpful. I did see the movie. I didn't see the movie until it hit HBO. Then that's when I saw it from home, because we already really don't go to the movies that often. Because if we go, everybody's going to need to go to the bathroom constantly. So it just wouldn't work for us. We probably wouldn't even see the movie that much from taking this kid to the bathroom, another kid to the bathroom, taking 4 to the bathroom, coming back, and then snacks. It's just way more cheaper.
Yeah.
And just economically makes sense to wait until we see movies at home. So I saw that one at home, and I liked it. I think I liked it more for what it gave to the community, the sense of involvement, and it gave people a sense of, what would be my word that I want to say, of feeling like they belong and that they have purpose in what they do. I had mixed feelings personally for it. I kind of like the movie. Oh, I hear your baby. We love your fur baby pictures too.
There was somebody at the door pulling faces, and so she's set off now.
But yeah, I had my own little mixed feelings about it. I love the movie Life Size with Tyra Banks. I would have loved to have seen that tied in, but I know with Tyra Banks, hers wasn't even a Barbie doll. But I was like, I would have loved to see that tied in. Like I said, I did have my own mixed feelings. I wasn't as excited about it because for me, the feminist perspective did stand out more to me than just Barbie. And I really wanted it to be more about Barbie and just how great, because she was so great for me growing up. And I feel like that was in there, but it wasn't really as strong of a message. And then I had a whole bunch of other reasons, but that's just because I'm more of a Very, very critical with story. I am. I'm very, very critical with story. So for me, I had my own perspectives on it. I wasn't as big of a fan of the movie as much as I was for the outpour that came from it, from people being able to feel comfortable reuniting and connecting with their inner child. For that, I was like that would be like my biggest, greatest takeaway from it.
Yeah.
So yeah. But congratulations to you. I want to tell you a huge congratulations for all of the speaking events that you've gotten a chance to do, be it on TV, be it on radio, and now this upcoming one. I will definitely point everyone to the virtual flyer that you have for the Dow Foundry.
Yeah, no worries.
And when is it again?
It's at the start of June. I want to say the 8th of June, but I may be incorrect.
Oh,
It's a Saturday. So
my
you need
birthday! That's my birthday!
today. If it's not, then it's the 6th.
Okay. And I have a baby whose birthday's on the 6th. So, hey, this is awesome. I put out a photo dump, and the photo dump had a post on it or a picture on it that said, like, happy birthday. And people started writing happy birthday at the bottom of my picture. I was like, oh, no, it's not my birthday yet. But they're so sweet. It goes to show once again how beautiful our community is, because I had so many people that were like, happy birthday. I was like, oh, my goodness, they're so sweet, but it's not my birthday yet. So I want to thank you again for allowing me to have this time with you. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Tell your family I said thank you. And we are definitely keeping you guys in our prayers. And I'm very, very, I'm just very impressed with how you and your husband and your son are able to keep this united front in the midst of changes. You're still laughing, you're still positive, you're still excited, you're still keeping your hobby going. And you've done something that for a lot of other households, having to stop working and owning your own business and just making all these different life changes would be devastating for them. But you guys are really showing how resilient that you are as a household. So I just want you guys to know that I see you, and I really do appreciate your continuous push, because I imagine it's not easy, but you're still doing it and you're braving through it. So I want you to know I sincerely appreciate you, and I thank you for giving me your time today.
Thank you. It's been lovely. I've really, really enjoyed talking to you again, which I knew I would do anyway. And it's just been fun. And that's the main thing. You've just got to be happy and joke.
Yes.
Otherwise things get. So you have to continue to do things that bring you joy, because that's what gets you through. And the humour and the joking is just our way of getting through. And we literally take each day as it comes and just roll with it. And that's the only thing that you can do. Yeah. So I've loved today. I would love to do it again.
Yes.
And thank your time, because I know you're extremely busy as well. So it's just been lovely. So
thank you. I thank you, sis. Guys, if you guys have any questions, because we do want to make sure that we're keeping up with our time, because we have other things going on. You can DM those questions. If you have any comments, that's not a problem. Go ahead and DM it or comment below underneath this this live once when it's published. And again, the event, I'm going to post that in the comments so that they can know about it and come.
Oh, I'm just seeing everybody that's joined. That's amazing.
Oh,
yeah, so
yes.
thank you so much.
Yes, there were some comments and I think we lost each other. I think we did. So yes, thank you guys again. If we didn't get a chance to wave, just know that your presence is felt and that you are seen. We thank you for all the comments that are on here. You guys did so amazing with your comments. I don't want you to think that you were being ignored at all. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you so much. I'm trying to see if there's any questions that anyone has before we log off. Hi, lovelies. Oh, God bless you. Thank you. Let's see here. Hi, any questions? I want to make sure that we answer those questions before we log off. It seems like we all have the same story as doll collectors, said Be Life Model. Melco Jojo said the Barbie community seems much stronger than what is it? Fashion. I hope I'm saying it right. TV lead community, way more interaction. Be life model said, till I post my first on IG, I really thought I was the only one who takes pics of dolls. Oh my God, how wrong I was. Yes, and then a 100 right there, 100, 100 from other people as well. Melco Jojo 16 Go said that's like soap operas, a whole week on one interaction sometimes. Yes. Yes, so very, very true. Instagram is so tricky. I think creators are kind of left behind by them these days with a sad emoji. I hope you are, oh, I hear you on the guilt, said Melco Jojo, about the pressure and the guilt of not being able to post, though I'd love to monetize my hobby. Great talk. Have to run. Have a great day. Well, thank you so much. All things Barbie and Pretty said hello. Have some awesome, amazing hellos. Exotic Doll said amazing talk. Have to put the girls into bed. We'll watch the rest on your post later on. Thank you for joining. B Model Life. Love the Barbie movie. Thanks, ladies, for such a nice talk. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I've lost connection. That's no problem. Yes, I've lost my video. Sorry. Thank you so much. A Sacred Pair for a wonderful live with some Vintage Barbie Claire. Thank you, Vintage Barbie Claire, for allowing me to be able to have your time. And I really do appreciate you. I appreciate your family as well. And I thank you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for being with us on this beautiful Saturday. You guys have an amazing day right where you are. Appreciate each other, love on each other, and be able to go with the flow of life in the season that you're in. I'm taking that advice as well. So thank you guys. I'll talk to you later. Love you all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Much love to you too and your family. Bye-bye.